Good morning, everyone. Seems like we've not had breakfast, have we? Oh, I can hear the people at the back need to be more energetic, the lords of last benches. Good morning, everyone. That was a lot better. And namaskara. Namaskara from the Silicon Valley of India, Namma Bengaluru, to all the, if I am going the right way, please pardon my Marathi accent, and namaskara from the Silicon Valley of India to all the Chan HR fraternity members present here. A warm welcome to all of you, and welcome once again. To begin with, where Asif had left off, I would request you all to please stand, if you could rise. Right? Just trying to build up from where you had left off, Asif. And before we begin the presentation and the usual drill, I would like you all to pull your left hand out. Please don't hit the other person. Right? And I would like you to bring your index finger out and start clapping. Yeah, that's some sound. How about 2 fingers? 3 fingers, 4 fingers, 5 fingers. Let's clap. Can it be louder? Louder. Let's continue. Thank you. Why did we do this? Anybody? Please be seated. Anybody? Any thoughts? Absolutely. Thank you. If I may know your name? Mansi. Thanks, Mansi. Any other thoughts? Anybody? Warm up. Yeah, that's definitely a hidden trick. Positive energy. I think that's what we are here for. All of us are met up here today. So my name is VARSHA DUBEY. Like you can see, and Asif has introduced me. I have close to about 15 years of work experience in the people management domain. And along with me here, I have Gunjan Gupta. If you can just wave to everybody out here. And she's a close colleague and friend of mine. And we are here to represent Optimix. But before we begin the presentation, let me just quickly tell you briefly what we do. And of course, we have the entire presentation to talk about what we do exactly at Optimix, what Gunjan and I and few of us do out here. So we are a team. I lead a team of very compassionate individuals. And I'm specifically talking about compassion because that's what we do. We are responsible for enhancing the employee experience throughout the organization. We touch the life of every individual in my organization. And it takes immense pleasure. Thanks, Asif, for inviting me here. Time and again, it's been a pleasure to be associated with you and Dr. R.L. Bhatia, and you've been conducting amazing rewards and recognition program and a lot of sessions wherein there's a lot of learning from each other and best practices sharing. And I look forward to sharing what we have been doing and listening to each one of you present here to understand what is it that you have been doing, because I'm sure we all empathize with each other when we say that things have not been very easy, especially post-pandemic. To take a moment and quickly introduce my organization to you, I work for an organization called Optimix, and as you can see, I head the employee happiness, well-being and intellectual growth of optimizers. We call ourselves optimizers. We are basically a global technology consulting organization, and we provide software solutions. I think a few of us, Bhagyashree and few of us, we caught up over a quick chat. And it's wonderful to know we have a lot of fellow team members who are into similar business. So we provide software solutions to Fortune clients across the globe, and our base is in US. And I am coming from Bangalore along with Gunjan Gupta. So we are a 500 odd member family, and we are an organization with a heart. And I deliberately say that because you will see what is it that we have been doing in order to make sure that we are able to make that impact on every individual across the organization. But before I share my presentation with you, I have two questions for all of you, or rather one question. Why do you exist? When I say you, I'm not referring to you. We have all the HR leaders, senior leaders, and people who are heading HR present here. So my question to you is, maybe you can answer to yourself, or you are welcome to share it with all of us. Why do you, when I say you, why does your organization exist? What is your higher purpose? Anybody? You could take a few seconds to think about it and share what is it that you think. Anybody? I'm sorry? To serve the mankind. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Why does your organization exist? What is the higher purpose? Have we defined the higher purpose for our organizations? Anybody who has defined the higher purpose?
We are from pharma, so our higher purpose is to provide affordable healthcare across the globe, to start with in India and across the globe.
Wonderful. Please give a big round of applause to him. I think that's the cornerstone, that's the foundation of any business if you want to make our employees happy. And the theme which I am talking about is the happy workplace. And if we are looking at creating a culture of well-being and happiness and fun at work, the background work, the work begins from there, which is to have a very good, clear picture of what is it that is the purpose of the organization. And I appreciate that all of you, those of you who do have a purpose on mind. With that, I would like to begin my presentation. We are basically a purpose-driven technology consulting firm, and our higher purpose is to simplify greater success. And this would not be possible. And when I say simplifying greater success, I'm sure Bhagyashree and few others would agree that it is more about delighting our clients. And this very basic philosophy, I'm sure, which a lot of us believe in, is happy employees lead to happy clients. Because especially the industry that I come from, which is into software solutions, it is extremely important for all our employees to be innovative. And in order to be innovative, they need to be charged up, they need to be happy. What is it that drives them to come to work on a day? Or the question is, do they actually come to work? So what model are we operating out of? Is it the work from office, work from home, or a hybrid, or are we still struggling to get our people back to office? Can we possibly go back and tell that, Gunjan, you need to come to office from tomorrow? Can we afford to say that? Are we in a position to say that? It's a very tricky question. I'm sure we all would be asking this question to ourselves every now and then. And we also look at the repercussions. So either we ask people to come to office, we push them, we pull them to come to office, or we do certain things that could actually help us to make people excited so that they start coming to office, right? What is it that drives people to be excited about Monday, which would no longer be blues? No longer any Monday blues would be there, right? Happiness has always been our way of life. I wouldn't say that this happened post-pandemic. We have had the opportunity, Asif, to present in various forums over the last few years. But if I have to be very candid, because we have all our HR leaders present here, it was in the year 2020, and I know that we are again going back to the pandemic days. It was in the year 2020, which is when, like all the other respected HR leaders present here, we realized that there was a need to go above and beyond the call of duty. So with permission of all the wonderful people out here, I would like to draw your attention to what happened in 2020. What happened and how did we come up with this whole philosophy before I say what is it that we exactly did. So to begin with, pandemic hit all of us. We all were facing challenges. We had this sudden transition to move from work from office to start working from home, right? Was the transition easy? Absolutely. I'm very, very sure technically it was very, very easy, pretty much manageable, especially in the IT organizations. We were able to do it flawlessly. It was just a matter of few days and few plugins, and plug and play was done and people were working from home. But the question was, were people mentally ready to start working from home? Like any other organization, most of us, we also have our, HR operations team. We have our performance management team, and we did, try to make sure, I'm sure you all would be able to relate to the gossip over chai, or what we call as chai ki charcha. I don't know how many of you all relate to Hindi, right? Chai pe charcha, the corridor gossip, the corridor talk, all that used to happen had completely stopped. A person like Gunjan who could, actually just walk across the table and talk to people, how are you doing and is there anything that I could do for you, had completely stopped. And we had the additional responsibility of making things work while we were working from home. And to talk about my organization, this is what happened. We have close to, my organization comprises close to 46% of women workforce. A big number, which means all those women who were earlier going to office and their husbands were going to office and the kids were going to school are all of a sudden in one space in the house. And here I am as a woman who has a bigger responsibility of taking care of home, my child, my husband, and along with that work and my team members. Where do I go with all the stress? How do I maintain my calm? Does it ring bells? All of us have been through it. On the other hand, we had close to 11% of fresh graduates whom we had hired just before pandemic. Now all these people who've just come out of college have absolutely no clue of how corporate world looks like. They also needed some sort of listening. With all that, we realized that there was a need to have a team of Gunjan and many other people who are extremely passionate about enhancing employee experience, which would cater to the demands of people. So there was this need to create a work environment which would be conducive to employee happiness exclusively. So there's this PMS, performance management team, there's this HR operations team, there's this recruitment team, and we create something new which is apart from all of this, which is, I draw your attention and would like you to put your hands together for something known as employee well-being, which we just started. So to talk a little about employee well-being, how did this happen? So you already got the genesis of why we started employee well-being, considering the VUCA Bani circumstances and the challenging situations and multiple diverse groups of people who had to be managed, who had to be emotionally balanced, which is a responsibility which lies on the shoulders of the HR fraternity, right? So now we decided that the sole objective of this team would be to make sure that everybody who joins my organization falls in love with the company. It sounds very, very generic, it sounds very, very vague, but we did set certain goals for ourselves. So I would like to draw your attention to the goals which we had taken up. This team was primarily responsible to make sure that while we are enhancing employee experience, but we also had to, I'm sure you all would agree with me that when we have those boardroom discussions, you cannot just go and say that 20% of the employees are unhappy, 40% are extremely happy, 60% are delighted. So how is it serving the purpose? So we decided, along with the COO and certain people in the leadership team, I took this onus on myself and created a team of compassionate individuals who are extremely passionate about making a difference. And we took the goals of higher retention, better collaboration, higher intellectual growth, more internal progressions, and finally, therefore, all that leading to cost optimization. So the whole objective of this team was to make sure that we retain employees even in the COVID scenario when we all were facing great resignation phase, right? So here's what we did. Something that I would like all of you all to also understand, and probably you could also add a lot of value to what I'm talking about. We always treat people as professionals, but here we changed our mindset. We changed the way we look at people. We need to start looking at people not as mere professionals, but as people themselves. And as people, all of us have our own aspirations. So if I may ask people present over there, maybe Bhagyashree's table, what is it that makes you happy? I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat your sentence.
So, whatever we do with the goal or purpose, that makes me happy. So I have a purpose to do it, and I have the target to do it. So I'll make that statement makes me happy.
Thank you, Bhagyashree. Anybody else from this table? If somebody could say, what is it that makes you happy? If you could answer that question, what makes you happy? Or anybody is welcome to share your thoughts. Happiness, I know, is a very relative term. It's not easy to measure. So everybody would have their own views. But what we did was we did a research with the help of renowned global experts, and we arrived at this, the well-being index. So what is it that people look forward to? What is it that makes them happy? What is it that we could do to make sure that they stay with us for a longer period of time? This was the answer for it. Identifying and helping them understand their net worth from 4 quadrants, which were around, first and foremost, is personal net worth. Like I mentioned earlier, it's extremely important for us to treat people as people and not just as mere professionals. So the first step to do was to understand, of course I'll be digging deeper on each of these areas. So was to make people to understand what is their personal net worth. The second, so people, whatever their needs are, whatever their requirements are, they fall into the following categories. So whatever conversations we started having were revolving around these areas. So let me just, before I move to each one of these at length, let me just give you a small example. So here's what my team would do. We would pick up the call, we would pick up the phone, and we would call people and ask them how are they doing. Sounds very cliched, but let me just tell you, it took almost 6 months for us to build that kind of a rapport wherein people started coming back to us and they started sharing a lot of things. When I speak about their personal net worth, we had people, I'm sure Gunjan would agree with me, where people said that I'm going to get married. So is that an information for me? Definitely. As an HR person, it is a big piece of information, especially if it's a senior software developer who is looking forward to, starting a new milestone. He's going to walk a new path in his life. So is he looking, so we need to catch the subtle messages. So this person is going to get married. A gentleman who is going to get married would possibly look at a better career opportunity. So instead of probably he looking out, how about I providing him with something very challenging, at the same time very rewarding? Or somebody who could say, who would say that, I have a good news to share, I'm going on a maternity break. There is the alarm. How many women come back from their maternity break? 6 months of maternity break, 180 days, how many of them do come back? So here, well-being team steps in and makes sure that we are in constant touch with that person, and we are in touch with the resource management group also, and making sure that when this person is looking, we keep that person in touch, charged up, we keep that person warm, and make sure that there is an opportunity available when this person is looking at coming back, and we make sure that person comes back. So through personal net worth, we are not just impacting the employees but also their families. So we started organizing a lot of workshops which were focusing on their and their family members' well-being. Helicopter parenting, I'm sure you all would have read about it, you would have, I'm not sure how many of us have done it, it's pretty much harmful. So we did a lot of workshops around how they can manage their work, life and family better. This was basis the conversations the team was having. So if I have to quickly in a nutshell tell you what this team was doing, I don't know how many of you are from banking background here. Anybody from bank? Fantastic. Ma'am, which bank do you work for? Right. Right, right. Thank you so much for that. I'm sure we all would have gotten calls or we would have our dedicated relationship managers. So what is the role of a relationship manager? Apart from selling? To engage. They are one-stop solution, right? One point of contact for their customers. So if I'm a relationship manager for about hundreds of my clients, they would be reaching out to me. So if I'm a customer of HDFC Bank, then I know I need to reach out to Bhagyashree in order to get my requirements fulfilled. That is what this team started doing. Okay, you have a performance management team. All right, you also have an HR operations team. You have a recruitment team. And somebody who joins your organization is completely confused because there are 10 different spokespersons for 10 different things. But let's say if you have one person who can answer all your queries, who can remove all the bottlenecks in your career, in your journey with Optimics, that's what my team does. Be it on the personal front or learning and growth front, right? So if I have to quickly throw some light, our typical learning and development sessions, how would they look like? Okay, here's a requirement and this is what I'm supposed to do. That from the learning and development team, what I would be doing is, somebody has a requirement and I cater to that requirement through probably assigning some sort of training program from Udemy or Coursera or one of those sites, or probably conduct a classroom instructor-led training program. What we did is we went one step beyond and we started addressing customized needs of every individual. And I was just sharing with Bhagyashree that we have a very unique appraisal system in our organization. While most of the appraisals happen usually from April to March or from January to December or September to whatever time period, right? We have our appraisals happening on our work anniversary. So what Gunjan and I and the rest of our team members would do is, we handle a certain account. So Gunjan has the responsibility of about 120 odd optimizers, 120 odd employees. So anything pertaining to what they require is taken care by Gunjan, while she facilitates the conversation and she facilitates the conversation between herself and and she bridges the gap between the team and the entire workforce. So here's what she does. She connects up when my appraisal is due and she says, your appraisal is due in this many number of, let's say in the next 6 months or 3 months. So what is it that you have learned? What are your learning goals? What are the opportunities you look at? And based on that, she brings all like-minded people who have similar learning goals and puts them in one place, and there's a lot of brainstorming and group learning happening together. So every individual will have a customized growth path which is met through all these various kinds of workshops which are customized to suit their requirements and their career objectives. What we have also done is, we have also started creating certain value groups, certain hobby and interest groups, because somewhere we also realized that all the initiatives, engagement opportunities which were there, they were completely dying down, because in the virtual scenario, how do you conduct any activity? So we did create a lot of value committees which were pertaining to our values, our culture, and these people started organizing a lot of So it was the employees who were championing all the initiatives, and they were bringing people together as part of the engagement opportunities. We also did, so it's not just so here we are taking care of the leadership requirement, leadership potential of individuals by not just making them wait for their organic growth through a career progression. What we did was we went one step ahead and we provided them an opportunity to demonstrate the leadership potential through various engagement initiatives which they started championing as well. Finally, whatever you do, how much ever you earn, learn, grow, it's unfulfilling or incomplete unless you give it back to the society, which is where we felt that there was a need for people to give it back to the society as well. And we have our own in-house NGO, and people contribute to that NGO in terms of volunteering for those CSR activities. And to begin with, we have a lot of mentoring program. We have created an impact on the government school students, close to about 45 schools which we have impacted, and more than 25,000 students. And we have also gone ahead, and during this COVID time, we actually went ahead and collected a lot of gadgets which we provided to schools, so which is where we have created a lot of difference. So if somebody is looking at a growth, here we are catering to their growth. If somebody is looking at intellectual growth, we are catering to that. If somebody is looking at some support on the personal front, we are also tied up with an external agency which also caters to the psychiatric requirements. And finally, we also have the fulfillment quadrant. So just to quickly walk you through what had happened and what was the result. Certain numbers which I would like to draw your attention to, and how we were successful. So we created a team of passionate individuals, and with almost close to a combined experience of about 45 years of work experience, and people who are certified coaches, neuro-linguistic programming coaches, HR business partners, learning and development team. All of us got together and we started reaching out to every individual to understand the requirements. So the result of that was, over a period of 6 months, we were able to build a great rapport with each and every employee, such that we started to foresee resignations. And in the year 2022, I take pride in saying this, that we were able to retain 82% of foreseen resignations, and during the great resignation period, we were actually in single digit, right, where companies were struggling to retain their employees. Because of the initiative we were able to take, we were able to have a great retention. We had 12% increase in internal promotions, and through career progressions, we were also able to reduce the cost and optimize the opportunities. And you'll be very happy to know, while we were closing the year last year 2022, we were also able to invite people to office because of the kind of rapport which we had built, because of the kind of engagement initiatives we had put together. We had close to 40% improvement post pandemic in order to getting people back to office. And you'll be pleasantly surprised to know that post pandemic we had to actually open up one more office which is close to our office in order to, because I'm sure we all did the same way. What had happened was, during pandemic we all moved to smaller offices because nobody was coming to office. But then we realized, because of the kind of activities, kind of engagement platforms we had, the kind of initiatives we were taking, we actually had to procure one more office, and we had to make sure that people were comfortable out there. So that's the kind of impact we were able to create. And of course there was improved productivity. We were able to acquire 5 new clients and on a global platform, and we were also able to increase the happiness quotient. So my tip to all of you would be, if you are looking at enhanced client delight, you need to invest in employee happiness. That might be a cost, but I would look at it as an investment. If you are looking at increased revenue growth, it's extremely pertinent that you start investing more in customized and tailor-made learning and development programs, because one size doesn't fit all. What drives me to come to office, what makes me happy, what will help me to grow may not be the same as what would help Bhagyashree to grow and learn and do well in the organization. If you're looking at higher retention, have a team of compassionate individuals who could reach out to people and proactively ask, "Hi, how are you doing? Is there anything that I can do for you?" And you'd be surprised to know that people come back to us saying that, "You know what, I have started journaling, I have started writing a book. My pastime is to create short movies." And these are the same people who would tomorrow, when you listen to them today, come back to you and tell you that this is what I am looking at, I have a better opportunity. So somebody, it's so surprising that somebody reaches out to Gunjan and says that, "You know what, I'm not liking it here, I'm looking at another opportunity." And we create an opportunity, a platform for that individual, and we retain that person and make sure that we don't lose out on a valuable employee who matters a lot to the organization. And finally, we really need to have meaningful initiatives, the result of which you can see a lot of happy faces and a lot of things which we have been doing over the last 3 years. With that, I would like to rest my case and I'm open to take questions.